Next year, it's going to be a whole new ball game for all of us. I'm not just fair, but every municipality. And we have to deal with the 2% cap. We have no idea if we're going to get this toolkit through or not. There's a lot of things in the toolkit that I like. There's some things that I don't like. But there's things in the toolkit that will actually help us stay within that cap or very close to it. My name is Tony Parenti. I'm a councilman in Fanwood right at the moment, ending a 3-year term, and I'm seeking re-election for another 3-year term. Prior to the council, I was director of the John Stanler Police Academy, which is a Union County Police Academy. I was there for 9 years. Life of the academy I thought was pretty good because I got to see the new cops that were coming on the job and was a part of their training, and I got to see policemen that have been on the job for a while for their retraining. So not only was I able to play an active part in the training, I was able to meet new friends and, of course, greet old friends. Prior to that, I spent 41 years on the Fanwood Police Department, 22 years of it as the chief of police. Prior to that, I spent 1 year on the Plainfield Police Department. And prior to that, I spent 4 years in the Air Force during the Korean War. We can go out of cap by going to the public. I would rather not do that. Last year, I was very fortunate. The mayor, I thought she was very good to me by putting me in charge of the Administration and Finance Committee. And what I did is, with the committee, I didn't do this alone, with the help of Joan Wheeler, she's a councilwoman, and Russ Hugel, he's a councilman, and our chief financial officer and our borough administrator. We met with the two biggest departments, that would be the police department and public works, and we were able to make substantial cuts in both their budgets. I have a feeling that if we continue to do what we did in last year's budget with the other departments, that we can probably reduce our operating expenses, I think substantially more. In previous administrations, previous councils, and I'm not trying to put fault or blame on anyone, they would say you can only increase your budget by 5% or reduce it by 5% or increase it by 10% or reduce it by 10%, whatever the case may be. And that's exactly what they would do. And over a period of time, you end up with false budgets. And you can see there's certain, there is no great secret to this. You can see in certain lines, like for instance, I would put in for $10,000 for an item, and I would only spend maybe $2,000 of it for 2 years in a row. Well, I really shouldn't be putting again for another $10,000 next year. I should be closer to the 2, which is what I actually spent. And that's really what we did. So there's no great secret to it. We just said, you know, then look realistically, this is the history of your budget. Can we change that line? And of course, they were cooperative and said yes, and we were able to knock quite a few points off the budget. I think the shared service report in itself, although they had, I think they had good people working on the report, I don't think they went deep enough. I think they just covered surface. There's a lot of flaws in the report, a lot of things that maybe were true in 2009, but not true in 2010. I read the report. I read it very carefully. I took a lot of notes. Not only I, but other people on the council did as well. We have never really sat down as a council and talked about it. But in speaking with the mayor last night, we will. There's things that happened in Fanwood that change the report substantially. For instance, in the report, he talks about sharing service with Scotch Plains on dispatch. As you probably know, we went with the county. That is going to save us approximately $80,000 a year, or in 3 years, which is what our contract is going to be. We're talking about $240,000 in savings. That has to be taken into consideration. Secondly, that report is based on an 18-person department. We write it down, we only have 17, and soon it'll be down to 16. Everything being the way it is, probably it'll stay at 16 because we have to face that 2% cap, and that is going to seriously change the numbers that's in that report. You know, when you start to put the whole thing together, so we got the part of it, the efficiency. I don't think we could do much better than what we are. As if we did combine, it would only get worse. It couldn't get better. The next thing is, are we going to save any money? I think I have it down to now, all things considered, that I said somewhere between $50 and $82 a year per household, which isn't much at all. Not enough for what you have to give up. The Barron family has been very good to me. For the first 2 years, I was the lone Republican on council, and she was fair. She gave me, you know, quite a few things to do that were important to the borough. And this past year, when the citizens turned the budget down, the school budget down, she put me on the committee to look for ways that we could cut. And we came up with $860,000 that we were able to cut out of the budget. One of the things on athletics that we did consider is who would they play? See, other school districts were cutting their budgets, and they were cutting certain athletic programs out. Well, we looked at that and said, well, you know, why have an athletic program if they have no one to play? And because of the clearances, the secret clearances that I had to go through, and the tests that I had to go through, including a time that I was home on furlough, and I was sitting in a bar, I've got to be honest, and I had black shoes on, and the fellow came to me and he started to talk to me, and he was talking to me about you know, everyday things, and then next thing I know, the conversation changed to military affairs. And I didn't like some of the questions that he was asking, so I lied to him, and I told him that I was a Marine. Of course I wasn't, I was in the Air Force. And I filled his head so full of crap that he, you know, I thought he believed it. But little did I know, I was actually being put through a test to see if I could make it into the next secret clearance, which would make me go to a different part of the plane. And I passed the test because he knew I was lying.